Be honest, I don't think I'm gonna do any startup anymore, to be honest. But whenever you solve a problem, you figure out there is a bigger one. It's really hard to be profitable in a startup. When I was kid, around 10 years old, like I was always selling different stuff to my classmate in school. Yeah, I get white hair because of these challenges. It never works. One day I received $1 billion order. We send like $2 million to China. They were a scam company. We lose the
Wow.
money. It's not fun to run a startup. Amazing question, Ahmed. So I want to do something that we are proud of it in the technology, and we scale to the US.
Hey everyone, welcome to a new episode of the Yahya's Business Show, the show where you'll best learn about business, entrepreneurship, tech, and anything related to the business world. Today with me, I have Yahya Aqel. Yahya is a founder with many exits, great startups in a field, industry that I really haven't spoke about on my podcast. It's the first time that I'm going to speak about it. Yahya, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Ahmed. Thank you for having me as well.
Yahya, before we dive in, I mean, looking at your LinkedIn portfolio, looking at the stuff you've done is just wow. I want to know, going back to your early childhood, what was the first entrepreneurial thing you did to make money?
Mhm. So if it's in terms of money, I think it was when I was kid around 10 years old. Like I was always selling different stuff to my classmate in school. So that's in terms of let's say when the first time I made money. But if I will look to the innovation and something that I have done it was when I graduate immediately. I started my own business in Kuwait.
Okay. And what was the business?
Yeah, so in Kuwait, it's a little bit interesting. It's in medical, but it's
Okay.
uh, back then when I graduated from the college, I am biomedical engineer anyway.
Okay.
So when I graduated, I get a chance where there is a company in Kuwait, uh, around 50 employees. They are losing money. They don't do well. I get the chance to know the owners of this company.
Okay.
Uh, After studying about the business and see why they are losing money, I found it like an opportunity for me to get over and reinvent the wheel the way they have done it in the business in Kuwait. And then in 3 years, I positioned this business to be profitable.
Wow.
And yeah, I could then exit this company and move forward.
Okay. What brought you into the healthcare industry? Like why did you're a biochemistry graduate, but why did you get into it or work into it? Why, like some people go into research, you went into companies and businesses. What led you in that way?
Yeah, good question, Ahmed. So, to be honest, there is no specific reason why I went to medical, nothing else. It's just like my bigger brother always recommended this specialization, the biomedical engineers. So I said to myself, why not? It's combined between engineering and medical. So
Okay.
I choose that, let's say, specialization. But there is nothing any specific why I went to this path. But in business, why I moved to business in somehow, because I knew myself from the beginning. I'm good in sales and business, building things, managing people. So I thought it's better because eventually sometimes you could go in maintenance work.
Okay.
You go to biomedical engineer, sometimes you go technical. I,
Wow.
I I I didn't see myself to the technical part as much as business innovation and running companies.
Okay. Uh, when you were sitting and like you founded two companies in the space, or now it's your third company. Uh,
In the healthcare, I founded around five now.
okay. In each one of them, what were the gaps you were seeing in the healthcare market in the MENA region that caused you to start in each industry? Like, what was, let's say, um, I was a fly on the wall where you were sitting and you were speaking about the gaps you saw. What would I have heard?
Yeah. So let me tell you about the first business I built in Kuwait, because that business give me the chance to get to know everything about the healthcare industry and so on. So I was telling you, when I graduated from my school, I moved to Kuwait. I started my own business in Kuwait. It was a trading company that buy all kind of medical disposable equipment, pharma products from Europe, US, China, and sell it to the Kuwait market.
Wow. Okay.
This chance give me the understanding how it works between manufacturer, distributors, healthcare providers. And then I figure out there is a lot of challenges between
Okay.
manufacturer to distributors, distributors to healthcare providers, how the products shipped, how because I figure out also the supply chain is broken between
Okay.
manufacturer until the end users. So let's say this experience uh, give me a lot of insight about the industry. So when I exited this business, I started to do something to solve. So my second company was in UAE and Saudi. It was for the whole Middle East, where I started to have a big warehouse
Okay.
importing
Better.
all kind of medical disposable pharma products and try to distribute it to the whole MENA regions. And then the third company also that I started, where I start to do the technique, the tech part, and
Okay.
so on. So in somehow, my first experience give me the leverage to understand the supply chain, and then I start with each company I establish it to solve the problem. But whenever you solve a problem, you figure out there is a bigger one, until I end up having Aumet
Okay.
today, where we trying to fix one of the biggest challenge now for pharmacies and the pharmaceutical suppliers.
Okay. Before we jump into Ahmed, I want to go back to you started medical Onyx.
Onyx.
Onyx. What was it?
Yeah. So Onyx is the original idea of Aumet, by the way.
Okay.
So this is good story to explain to you. So as I told you, I was doing business in Kuwait. I exited this business. I opened a bigger business in UAE and Saudi Arabia, where I start to distribute the product from manufacturer to the distributors in the
Okay.
GCC region. Then an idea come to my mind: why I don't digitalize all the relationship building between manufacturers and distributors?
Okay.
Okay, because eventually, to as a manufacturer, to find distributors, you need to go to exhibition, and it's so
Right.
costly, and there is no a good ROI of investing all of this money for exhibition. I started to think of building a platform where we use the recommendation engine machine between manufacturers and the distributors. I started the idea in 2016. That came to
Okay.
my mind.
Wow.
And I built the MVP. We got the first, let's say, fund from 500 startup, where I moved to, San Francisco back then. But the point is here, the challenge that I found it in between manufacturers and distributor. That's what made me started the Medical Onyx. Okay,
Okay.
that's the reason, because eventually every manufacturers need at least to have a decent amount of distributors, and they can't find those distributors. So we try to solve the gap,
Okay.
and we started in 2016. I exited that business in 2020 October. Okay, but again, this business it was called Omit before. We called it Medical Onyx.
Okay.
But after after like Omit, we started a new business model. Okay,
Okay.
I was in I have to take decision whether to continue with the Onyx as it is, or focus more into the B2B marketplace.
Okay.
And then I started more the B2B. Then my previous two co-founder took Onyx, and now they are running the Medical Onyx.
Okay.
And I'm focusing more into Omit, where it's B2B healthcare marketplace.
Okay. I want to go. I know Onyx was a big success for you before you exited. You achieved seven figures net profit. You were focused on profit, and we see in today in the startup ecosystem, we see a lot of startups. All they take is funding, growth. They don't focus on profit. You had to focus on profit. Uh, Talk to me about that. Like, what was the philosophy there? How did you get to profitability? Uh, how did you manage the business to focus more on profit and not just growth?
Yeah, good question, by the way, Ahmed. There is difference between startup and technology and the traditional business. So in my previous business in the traditional was in Kuwait, in Saudi, UAE, that I was telling you, I always, think about the profitability, and I could be profitable if it's not in the first year, second, maximum third year, where I could
Okay.
make money and then I sold it or I exited. That's the normal way of how to run a business, let's say in the healthcare, in the traditional one. When I started Aumet, which is something new to me back then in the technology, that I didn't used to know that, okay, I have to spend a lot of money until I becoming profitable. Then I figured out, yeah, it's really hard to be profitable in a startup and you need to get money from VC because I didn't know that back then. I need to get money from investor and so on. So I tried to be profitable, but it never works. And then
Okay.
we start to get money from VCs and get from 500 and other VC in Silicon Valley. But the point is here, the only way we could be profitable in in Onyx back then, it was because of the COVID. So in
Okay.
COVID time, in only 3 months, we could scale our business from 5 million to 50 million US dollar.
Wow.
Okay. And that's give me the fortune where I could make a net profit.
Okay.
And that's net profit that I use it. And I started almost
Aumet.
today,
Okay.
B2B healthcare without needing money from the investors. I could use the profit that we made back then during COVID. And we start to test some hypotheses. And then the B2B marketplace for pharmacy worked the most. And I took this path and moved forward.
Okay. You said you grew from 5 million to 50 million in 3 months almost.
Yes.
Describe to me, because when a company grows that much in this small period of time, there's a lot of challenges. What were your challenges growing from 5 million to 50 million in 3 months?
Yeah, I get white hair because of these challenges. Yeah, I mean, so when I was running Omid before in 2000 in 2020, and before COVID, where we connect manufacturer to distributors, the old business model, whereas today it's Onyx, we were around 15 employees only. Okay.
Okay.
And then we started to hear, okay, China, there is COVID, people, there is a shortage. And since my original experience in the supply chain, I used to sell products, get item from China, US to the Middle East. I started to receive some inquiries from, let's say, companies who's looking for the PPE product.
Okay.
Okay, the gloves, face mask, gown, and so on. Then I said to myself, I don't really want to waste this opportunity. We have something in Jordan. I'm not sure if you have the same in your country. Like when you want to say a joke, like your father get an offer for a land where it is like $2 and today it's 20 millions. You know,
Right.
we have these things in Jordan. So I was saying to myself, I really don't want some days that I get an opportunity to make fortune and I didn't try to get it because I was, let's say, stick to my original idea to
Okay.
connect manufacturer to distributors. So I tried that time to start, supplying the BBE products.
Okay.
Omit, instead of matchmaking between manufacturer to distributors,
You're
we
supplying
today
it.
becoming manufacturer of the BBE
Okay.
product, and we start to receive all the inquiry from the the distributors. And when we decided this, then it's like it's massive business come to us.
Wow.
Okay, we were 15, a lot of orders comes. We started to receive half a million, 2 millions. Then we started to get 5, then 20 million. Then
Wow.
even one day I received $1 billion order, but I
Wow.
didn't move on with it because
Wow.
it was so risky to take it.
Okay.
And it was, we don't want to put ourselves on that risk. So
Right.
eventually, we get a lot of challenges. First of all, the team we were so small; they don't have the experience to do this. One day, I remember I called someone in Facebook. I asked him, "Do you know anyone knows about the supply chain? Because we have a lot of orders,
Yeah.
but we are not able to ship it." And he said, "My friend, yeah, he has an experience." Then I asked him, "Can I call now your friends?" It was 2 a.m. And he
Wow.
said, "Okay." And I called his friend. I asked him, "Do you have experience in the supply
Supply.
chain?" And he said, "Yes." I said, "Okay. Uh, do you want to, do you have a job?" He said, "No." I said, "Okay, you are working with us since yesterday. So
Wow.
go and do the work." So a lot of challenges happening like this. And we lost some order as well. Like we sent like $2 million to China. They were a scam company. We lose the
Wow.
money. So a lot of chaos happening back then,
Okay.
but at all, it went well. We could make money and move on.
Okay. From Onyx, you moved on and start
Omit.
Aumet. What is Aumet?
Yeah. So Omit, today we are MENA largest B2B healthcare marketplace that
Okay.
we have a one-stop shop for pharmacy to manage all of their, let's say, work and digitalizing the order between pharmacy and pharmaceutical suppliers.
Okay.
Okay. So today in Omit, we have an ERP solution where we manage all the task for the pharmacies, point of sales, purchasing, inventory, HR, everything. And
Okay.
this ERP connected with a marketplace where all the suppliers, their offers, items, all things, they have access to what's available in the market.
Okay.
Okay. Plus, we build the technology AI that we order on behalf of the pharmacy. So
Wow. Okay.
pharmacists, once they integrate with our solution, we suggest to them all the orders. So there is no need for a purchasing person
Manager.
to do
Right.
the forecasting, and it's done by us
Okay.
from the day one. Even
Okay.
we don't need like a history orders for the pharmacy. From day one, we could suggest, because our AI is lean for like many years, and there are 10,000 pharmacies using it. So it's mature today and can give suggestion and forecasting to the pharmacies.
Okay. So basically, Ahmed, let's say I'm a pharmacy.
Mm.
I register on your platform. I have a point of sale. Through Ahmed, I could see different suppliers, what medicines they have, what machines they have, anything that I need as a pharmacy. And I could go order the item, pay through Ahmed, receive the item, and sell it through Ahmed, through the Ahmed point system.
Exactly.
Okay. On the supplier side, I come in on Aumet and I put myself, I open an account and I show whatever products I have.
Exactly.
In a marketplace, there's always this fight of the egg and the chicken, needing suppliers or needing pharmacies first. It's always a challenge in balancing, getting both aspects to the platform. How were you able to convince pharmacies to join Aumet or suppliers to join Aumet?
Yeah, so in the beginning, somehow it was challenging because to prove this, it took from us a lot of experiment. But what works the most, the following. First of all, you really need to have a
Okay.
suppliers who has variety of products. So, and in order to have them, sometimes is difficult. So what we try to do, we come to supplier, we say, "See, we have 500 pharmacies. Do you want to join us?" We don't have the 500 anyway. And then they said, are you sure you have? I said, okay, put your product, and then you start to receive orders. And then they said, okay, we are we will come with you guys. Then we started to tell pharmacies that we have these suppliers and many others. If you open your account, then we select one day, specific day, to start and launch this marketplace.
Okay.
The good things when we start and we launch, because we have back then many suppliers, and they have updated products, photos, everything, and stock availability was already there. And then we call all the 500 pharmacies that we onboard them in the two weeks time.
Okay.
Then the transaction started, and from that we start to let's say grow the business more and more, and then we start to have more supplier, more pharmacies, and today we really have any majority of the pharmacies using our solution with the supplier. And then after we build the marketplace, then we start to build on top of it the ERB, okay, to manage all the pharmacy management system. And now lately we build the AI to start order, and we are continue like this to have a one-stop solution for pharmacists to manage all of their orders.
Okay. You have all these suppliers and all these pharmacies. You see a lot of data. What are the trends showing you? What does the market need? What is the market missing? The B2B healthcare market, what is it missing throughout the data you see on the platform?
Yeah, so it's worth to mention that data is something that we really value the most, because eventually we are a light asset business model.
Okay.
So we core a lot into data exchange and so on. So we have something we called PharmaGenie. This is where we innovate now. So today we have let's say a system that we build it that able to tell all the manufacturers in the world all kind of information and details they are looking for in any street in Jordan, Saudi, and Egypt, because we capture all the transaction that's happening in between pharmacy and the patient, not only from supplier to the pharmacy, because eventually we have an ERB solution. So we capture when suppliers sell to the pharmacy, and from pharmacy to the patient. Why we are building this? This is coming from our brand promise, because our brand promise is to secure billions of people's life by digitalizing the supply chain management in country where we operate in. Okay. So eventually this is part of what we believe we want to deliver, of making sure any patient, when they come to the pharmacy, they find the medicine they want. So if I'll tell you the trends, the things that we see in the data is a lot, is a huge. And now building this PharmaGenie, helping us to transfer this knowledge to the manufacturer. So today, many of the multinational manufacturers, they are using our PharmaGenie in order to get access to data in country where they operate. And this also helping us today to partnership with the Saudi FDA, because one of the challenge for the Saudi FDA today, they want to know what the shortage item in each city, especially in a remote area. And they are now working with us side to side to build a solution for them to start anticipate what the shortage item medicine in all the cities in Saudi, so we could avoid that, and to start to give them recommendation what's item they need to stock, what item it's gonna be missing, and so on.
Let's say I'm a young entrepreneur and I want to become a supplier to these pharmacies. What are some medicines, or what are some products that are missing that you'd advise a young entrepreneur to go and start a business and try selling to these pharmacies?
Yeah. So this is also great questions, Ahmed. If today you want to, let's say, start to sell some items, uh, definitely, I think what we can read from the market nowadays, it's going to the let's say vitamin and cosmetic, let's say item. It has many. Yes, still there is a lot of a brand, but there is some kind of dominancy of this kind of a product. If you are able to crack it and make sure you are able to build. Let's say a customer base for you in this product, the margin is huge and the demand is huge. And today the good things through Aumet, you don't even need a sales force. So if you are
Right.
entrepreneur and you need to start a business, simply you could come to us. We could definitely share with you some kind of SKUs that it requests the most, and there is no exclusivity for these SKUs, because something I
Okay.
need to share with you, the business in the pharma in Jordan and Saudi, there is an exclusivity that
Right.
only some specific suppliers. So we could definitely advise those, entrepreneur of some kind of SKUs. They could start business where is a high demand, good profits, and they don't need a salesperson to ask pharmacists to buy, because it's OTC products,
Okay.
over counter.
Okay.
So doesn't need prescriptions and to go and visit doctors and be on that dilemma.
Okay. Um, why did you choose to be a B2B platform and not a B2C platform? Like instead of you have the suppliers, why didn't you help the suppliers to sell to customers right away instead of going to pharmacies?
So if you notice that majority of my work before and experience was all B2B. So when
Okay.
I start, let's say, my business in Kuwait, it was between, the KOC, the Minister of Health, and the manufacturers. And also when I went to UAE, Saudi, it was the same between manufacturers and distributor. Uh, so majority of my experience was in B2B. I know it very well, and it's good to start something that you're really expert at. So that's one reason where I started B2B, because majority of my business was in B2B. Another thing, I genuinely believe it's more easy to scale from B2B to B2C, but vice versa is not right. Why? Because eventually the once you build the base from B2B, it's easy to go to the C. But if you build B2C, it's really different and hard to go to B2B, because the dynamic is different, and you could build, you could build on the angle from pharmacy to the consumer more faster than you
Then
started with
consumer
the
to pharmacy.
consumer. Yeah, because eventually it will take forever until you capture the market. With B2C, it's a lot mass. I mean, the focus and so on. So that's my philosophy anyway.
Okay. Yeah, looking, you've exited five startup or five different businesses. Uh, and when you exit a business, you're selling it, you're making profit. So I'm assuming you're financially stable. Uh, what keeps you coming back and building more?
Yeah, amazing question, Ahmed. So see, actually, I was and I got my financial freedom in 28. Okay,
Okay.
I was planning to be on 30, but I could make it 2 years
Okay.
before. And let's say I was blessed by having this, since I sold two company before in Kuwait and
Okay.
UAE and Saudi. That's give me the ability. Now, when I started Omid, to be honest, it was something that I was always want to do. Uh, Not only fixing the problem in the supply chain, but also I want to build as a Middle East person, Arabic one, something that goes from east to west. I really want to change the stereotype about our generation as an entrepreneur, Middle East, that we are not able to innovate and always we copycat things from US to Middle East. I want to do something that we are proud of it in the technology, and we scale to the US. and I could see it happening. So today, also part of our plan with Aumet to scale our solution to Europe and to the US. Even we have an office now in France, and we start to work on this to start scaling our solution through franchise business model to the France and also to the US, since we're already a US company anyway. So if you ask me, the driven is something that I really want something to go from Middle East to the West, and we are able to deliver and change the stereotype about Arab entrepreneur.
Okay. Do you, after you hopefully exit Aumet or IPO Aumet, do you plan on investing, or do you invest currently in different startups, or do you just focus on building?
Yeah, I invest. I invested already in some of startup that I know the founder and like I trust them the most. And also I'm investing a lot in cryptocurrency anyway.
Okay.
Yeah, and in stocks, in real estates. I'm fan of real estates. I used to go and invest in UAE, Turkey, France, also in Jordan. So yeah.
Okay. Let's say you're done with Aumet, you're moving on, you want to start a new startup idea. What would be the startup idea? What does Yahya have in mind for the next startup idea?
To be honest, I don't think I'm gonna do any startup anymore. To be honest, at least from what I can see right now, I would rather do coaching
Okay.
or to investors or to stay in Omit where I could, yeah, even okay, I exited, but still running and moving forward. But
Okay.
I don't see myself opening any new startup or any new business anymore. I think I would like to pursue an Omit until the end, or change the building business things and go to an investor side or coaching and so on.
Okay. Let's say you go into coaching and you have a young founder that's eager to build something huge uh, in the medical space or in any other industry. What would you coach him? How would you coach him? What would you tell him? What to focus on? What problem to go and solve?
Yeah, this is deep questions though. There is many things, but if I want to advise an let's say an entrepreneur, like especially a fresh one, first of all, I would advise them to work in a startup before they start a startup. Okay,
Okay.
that's a good smart way to lean everything, but should be a very a scalable startup, successful one, and especially the founder really good, so they could learn from. That's one thing. Focus is what matters. They really need to always be focusing on what they are doing and not get distracted with a lot of things, because that's let's say a learning lesson for me as well. Uh, but what really matters, يعني the things that let's say change from good to great, and what really matters is that they have to be perseverance. You need to keep going. Never, nothing stopping you. I can tell you there is thousands of reasons why I should quit Omit when I started before. A lot of things and many things, yani, against us to move on. But always, to keep continue the persistence, keep going, consistency of doing it, discipline as well. That's what really matters. So I could tell if anyone as an entrepreneur really doesn't feel that they could be disciplined, they could do a lot of things, because to be honest, it's not something, yani, it's not fun to run a startup. It's not a fun at all. It's really, yeah, yani, it's really difficult. It's really difficult a lot. So if you don't have this fire and grit, you really want to do it, don't do it. And if you do it, you need to be disciplined and persistence anyway.
No, Yahya, what I like, you 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 have success, but you're not afraid to admit that building a startup is hard. Uh, Other people who might have your success, they'll tell you, "Oh, it was easy. I manage a team. I'm good at it." But no, like you've had success before, but you admit that building a startup is hard, which I really admire in you. Uh, my last question is, you're 60, you're 70, you have all the money in the world, and you want to choose one problem, one world problem, or one problem in Jordan or in the MENA region to solve. What is this problem? Like, what would be your life mission?
Education. I
Okay.
always would love to do something to the education, and even in my investment, it was with edtech company because I genuinely believe that what really changed, uh, the generation, especially in the Middle East, is the education, and I hope that we could see uh, more of the people in the Middle East. They have the access to a good education, so it will be education for sure.
Okay. Yeah, yeah. I think it's a great episode. I really enjoyed it. Uh, you have a lot of lessons you shared with us, how you think about the industry, the medical industry, and your uh, path to success. Uh, any last words you want to share? Where could people follow more of what you're doing? Feel free to put any plugins.
Yeah, I mean, I would just end it up by first of all, thank you again for this opportunity, and I would love people they will find it useful, like you. Uh, the things I would just share at the end is that believing in yourself is really important. So whenever you start your own, let's say, startup business and so on, you should believe in yourself and work hard on yourself, and you're gonna get it no matters. It's for us today, it's tomorrow. Never have doubts in yourself and just move forward. And that's also something that I could learn from all previous experience, because most of the time people think that I gonna fail, but always I prove them wrong, and that's something I learned in a hard way. So I would share this: believe in yourself and move forward. That's a good lessons for the let's say the entrepreneurs.
Yeah. Thank you again for being on the pod.